This is the Salvinos JR kit of the Buick, driven by Bobby Allison to win the 1982 Daytona 500. I think it builds into a really nice model. This video shows how, plus some thoughts on what could have been done to make it even better. It's an X-monogram kit in 1/24 scale that Salvinos repopped a few years back to create this Gatorade version. It's moulded in white plastic, plus plated parts, clear parts and rubber tyres. These are all the pieces after initial cleanup, and a few things have been started, like the engine block halves are already together. There was a lot of cleanup required. This would have to be the most flash I've ever seen on a model kit. It looks horrible and dramatic, but it's actually pretty easy to clean up, whether that be by cutting or scraping or sanding the excess material away. The plastic in this kit is fairly soft, so while it's time consuming, it's not as if it's hard work, other than the fiddly little pieces that could easily break, such as the shock absorber assemblies. The main body looks to be nicely moulded, and I've just marked up some fine mould lines that need to be removed. Thankfully, I didn't need to use the side windows because the ones in the kit are the wrong shape. The car dropped its rear bumper early in the race, and rival teams suggested that this was on purpose to reduce drag. It's an interesting story, but it's got no place in a modelling video, so there's a link to a Dale Jr. interview about this in the description. I wanted to check how the ride height and the wheelbase and wheel track and everything is in comparison to the body. So I taped in these assemblies under the chassis, dropped the body on and fitted the wheels to get an idea, and everything looked pretty good. Except for one thing. The model had a huge twist in it. I've used a piece of glass as like a flat patch for making being set correctly, and you can see here the chassis has got a massive twist in it. Now the plastic's quite soft, so I used a hairdryer and lots of twisting and bending to get this largely eliminated. So I started fitting in the roll cage and the side structures and the front chassis rails that extend out to the front of the car. They're not even near the main chassis, so it was time consuming getting those glued in place, but eventually they sat down in position. Basically all the interior of this car is in a semi-gloss black, so rather than painting all the parts individually and then assembling them, I figured a lot of time could be saved if it was all assembled first, and that way you get a much better bond with the plastic as well, and then paint the whole thing in one go afterwards. Most of the roll cage has gone in here, the firewall and dash have been fitted, and I've used some sprue goo to fill in some gaps, particularly where panels meet and where the bars go through the firewall. So this is all looking really good. However, in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have put the dashboard in at this stage because it made it very difficult to get some good paint coverage on the inside. Now, I still haven't put all the bar work in place because we need to have room to add the pedals and the seat and the other interior detail after the painting. There was a bit of a gap between the outer wheel arch and the side panel at the rear of the chassis, so again, sprue goo filled that up nicely. And while doing some body test fits, I thought it sat a little too high, and I saw that the rollover bar on the driver's side was holding it up. So I scraped the top of the bar flat, and that allowed the body to drop by probably a good millimetre or so. Another thing that I think improves the build is drilling out the fuel overflow. I use Tamiya's fine grey primer for most of my models because I just find it easier to see the faults that might need correcting compared to other colours. Just a single coat on the chassis, so just so that the colour will stick a bit better. It's a bit heavier on the body because I want to be able to sand that back and make sure the body is nice and smooth. So once the grey primer's been sanded down and everything was all looking okay, coat of Tamiya fine white primer. The body was then hit with a couple of coats of Tamiya TS26 pure white. And the semi-gloss was the SMS chassis black, and used that for all of the chassis inside and underside. I've got the window net masked off because that's going to be a light colour afterwards. The instructions say that the instrument panel is black. Old video footage shows that the gauges are mounted into an aluminium panel. So lots of masking tape to mask off the front face of the dash. And while I was doing that, I also saw evidence that the panels in the rear of the car also had an aluminium skin over the inside surface. So they were left open to be sprayed as well. And just a single coat of SMS aluminium was sprayed on, and then all of the tape removed. Now, the finish of the alloy colour here is not very good, and that's not the fault of the paint. It's because of the black that's underneath it. As I said earlier, I just couldn't get a nice finish to the black on the chassis, and because that's not a good finish, the metal colour over the top looks horrible. But that's going to be difficult to see once the body goes on. Onto the wheels and tyres, and even the tyres have got flash on them. Thankfully, it's only on the inside sidewall. The outer surface is fine. However, the tread surface is quite concave with a big seam line. I sand them down to improve the appearance now. With these, I just mount them in a drill and use a sanding stick. This is a stock rim from the kit. Use some Tamiya panel line wash into the slots to create a black hole illusion. And on the back of the rim, I removed the plating, just sanding it off, just so that plastic cement can be used and get a good join. The two rim halves are assembled inside the tyres. Before adding the tyre decoration, I make up some circular masks from some tape and cover over the wheel. The sidewalls are then hit with some gloss clear, so that allows the Goodyear decals to adhere to the paint because they don't necessarily adhere to rubber very well. Once the decals are fully dry, a very light coat of Tamiya smoke clear is applied, then a mix of gloss and flat clear to give this sort of a satin effect for the rubber. Had a pretty successful decaling session, and the decals were great to work with. They were tough, but still quite flexible. They did require some softener and lots of working time around the edges to get the big Gatorade signage to conform to the top of the rear quarter panels, but they did eventually go down and ended up really nice. The most noticeable issue to me was the radius of the green decal on the front does not follow the radius of the wheel arch. So all the body parts got 2 coats of clear, and once that had dried, there was just a little bit of sanding and buffing to get some little waves and specks of dirt out, and then a couple of heavier coats on, which were then lightly sanded and went through the micromesh polishing system. There's a shot that shows the instrument panel is not an alloy finish all the way across like I had assumed it was. So back in with the masking tape, just sanded the panel down a little bit and hit that area with some semi-gloss black. And this sort of reiterates the fact that you should really do all of your research well in advance of the build rather than picking up information as you're going along. Once that panel was painted, it was a good time to add the dial decals to the gauges before the rest of the bar work went in. I was assuming that these circular decals would fit inside the recess, but they're far too large and hang over the edges. Also added a little bit of detail by picking out the switches with some panel wash afterwards. For the window net, I did a bit of a mixture of flat white and deck tan just to give a bit of an off-white colour, and just brush painted that on the inside and the outside. The kit includes nothing in the way of seatbelts, so I sourced some 2mm wide black ribbon courtesy of a modelling mate. I've just fixed it in place with a dab of CA glue around the roll bar, and then once the seat was fitted in place, just used a couple of dabs of silver paint on the end for the buckles. I didn't have any photo etch or anything like that. Interestingly, the kit, while it did not include belts, it does include the Simpson decals to go on the belts. And I fully intended to try and put them onto the ribbon to brand the belts, but I forgot to do it. The fire extinguisher was sprayed red, followed by a couple of strips of Hasegawa mirror finish for the mounting straps. The gearshift is a plated part, and the knob is painted acrylic white and Tamiya rubber black for the boot. The kit includes a drink cooler, so I ran a Gatorade green line from the bottle up and around the back of the seat and tucked it under the left shoulder strap for the driver to take a drink. This is purely fictional, but it could have looked like that. The front suspension and the steering and the shock absorbers are installed. The oil filter and lines and the steering box are not separate pieces. They're actually cast into the chassis parts. So I just brush painted them and put a little wash around them, and that's better than not having them painted. Once the interior details had been finished off, it was time to put the final bar work in, but as you can see here, the alignment was far from perfect, so that had to be held down and braced until the cement had cured. Part of the model club that I'm part of, we bring our works in progress along to meetings, and this is just a photograph of the model where the chassis is basically done and waiting for the engine. Engine was more or less built up as per the instructions. I've just made the engine sort of a GM orange and painted up a few other parts and stuck it together. I didn't bother with spark plug leads or anything like that for this build. So the engine mostly done, but needs the exhaust headers and a couple of other things fitted before it drops into the chassis. And that presented a problem. So while I don't trust the Salvinos color callouts, you need to take notice of the sequence of the build, because I have put the firewall in prior to the engine, and that means the engine can't slide back enough to sit down in the chassis. Engine has to go in before the firewall. So I had to pry the headers off the engine and then refix the headers from underneath, threading them up between the chassis and the block. Ended up scratching the headers, and they're poorly aligned, and the engine bay in this thing turned into a bit of a mess. Both the radiator and the oil cooler have been hit with some black wash on the cooling surfaces, and the pipes were brush painted before it was fitted into the chassis. And this is just dry fitting the body to make sure that the coolers and everything line up and actually fit. I don't believe this is accurate, the shrouding for the cooling fan, because race cars don't use cooling fans. I've used the kit part as intended, but I didn't bother about putting a fan on the front of the engine. They just don't run those. The glass on this kit is a problem. Firstly, the photo on the box clearly shows a black band across the top of the front windscreen, but the kit doesn't mention anything of it, so I just masked off the screen and then just brush painted some semi-gloss black from the inside. And so while that looks a bit rough here, when viewed from the outside, looks fine. The rear retaining straps are semi-gloss black, so to help prevent getting paint on the body, I just put some small bits of tape around the sides of the straps just to catch any overspill. Also put some black in the groove that runs around the front windscreen and bare metal foil around the edges. The kit calls for the windscreen to be fitted prior to the body going on the chassis, but I was worried there would be clearance issues with the dashboard and firewall, so I left the front window out until later on. Front and rear bumpers are secured in place by pins that fit in holes that are in the body. The pins for the rear bumper are way too long, and they actually prevent the body from fitting in the chassis. So once the glue for the bumper is dry, snip the pegs off. Here we're just playing around with some camber on the outside front wheel before the wheels are fixed in place. I use a 2-part epoxy glue to put the wheels on so that there is some time to get the set of the wheel, so the camber and the track of the wheel to look good. The grille was hit with a black wash, and the 2 intakes on the headlight were also hit with wash, one with a black wash, the other a grey wash, because they're different colours on the real car. Also, the entire inside of the body shell and the underside of the bonnet has been painted semi-gloss black. Now, I've just brush painted it because I just wanted to have a black interior and it's not really visible. The rear wheel placement, I think, looks really good. Panel line wash was used around the fuel filter to bring out the detail. The trunk pins on the rear deck are plated kit parts, and they fit into a recess that's already moulded into the boot lid, and same with the bonnet, or the hood, with the hood pins. It would have been possible to fill those recesses and then use a photo etch part, for example, but I was more than happy with the kit parts in this particular case. It's clear to see in video and photographs of the race that this car ran single outlet exhaust pipes that exit both sides of the car, not the double pipe out the left side only as supplied in the kit. To replicate this, I cut a couple of lengths from the plated sprue. I then drilled up the centre to make the tip hollow and blackened the hole. So these were then glued to the underside of the chassis, and they don't connect into the exhaust system itself. I didn't bother about going down that path because the headers are all misaligned underneath anyway. It's a bit of a mess. But from the outside, exhausts look fine. Am I lazy? Yes. Once the body is in place, the front window can then drop in, and it's a terrible fit. Not one of the clear pieces for glass fitted in its window aperture properly. Not one. This is the rear window looking from the inside, and it's held in with crystal clear. I couldn't get it to sit up against the mounting straps, and there are gaps on the top and the bottom of the window. Front window doesn't fit either. In retrospect, rather than using the clear parts from the kit, I should have tried using a transparency film sheet and cut that to size to see how it would go. I've used transparency film for little wind deflectors on Formula 1 kits in the past, and I'm thinking particularly for the rear window, that would have been a far better solution than the kit provided glass. Something that I did add though, on photographs of the real car, it looks like there is some silver tape around the bottom edge of the windshield, so I've simulated that with some bare metal foil. The hood is hinged, but it also can be easily removed. I just used a black permanent marker to put the black strips that are on the front and rear bumpers. So, conclusion, if you're going to build this kit, I would suggest you spend some time checking out whether the chassis is straight and manipulating that to make sure everything is flat, and do more work getting the windows to fit at the beginning of the build, or replace them with some transparency film. So I'm hoping that that might work in a future build if I need it. Also, fit the engine when the instructions tell you to. I think it's a great looking model of a 1980s stock car, but I wonder if the front body should be sitting a little bit lower and maybe the rims a bit of a shinier chrome look. Ironically, I bitch about chrome in kits being too reflective and shiny, but in this kit, for the rims at least, it's not shiny enough. The decals in the kit are very good. They went on well, but needed a little bit of softener to mould down into the body lines, which they did, though I must not have got them seated fully in this body crease. Because you can see there they've bubbled up and I've sanded the colour off the top. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope it helps if you ever decide to build this kit. I've got plenty more NASCAR stock car kits in the stash, so subscribe if you want to see how those builds go. In summary, there are some issues with this kit, and there are some faults on my behalf with the build. But now it goes to live with some of my other Daytona 500 winners, and it looks fine with them. Cheers.